Welcome to New Player Learns Valorant Day 3. We started off with the same drills as we had been doing. I felt much more consistent on the dead zoning drills today, as well as the bursting drills. We then moved on to the flicking drills, where I tested it against medium bots, and I decided to kind of shore my final score here. For over aim, we ended on 2 points. For under aim, we ended on 11, and then for aiming just right, I believe it was 13. We moved on to our first death match of the day, where I've continued to focus on my fight hygiene. I'm showing good then bad examples for each range, where I believe it kind of exemplifies my issues, like with the over pulling down spraying at the medium range. I'm kind of still not being patient enough with the bursting, where I don't wait till I come to a complete stop. I think it's because I get overexcited that my crosshair's near their head, so I click, and then I have the same issue at long range. I then have a clip showing a fight at each range, back to back to back, which was pretty interesting to see in a game, where I'm kind of throwing everything together. And then finally, this is a bad map awareness clip, where I didn't even know this guy could be over here. I thought it was a wall right there. Whoops. We ended our first game going 29 and 21, getting 5th place. Overall, not a bad showing. Then we hopped into game number 2. I'm continuing to focus on the same learning objectives. I do think my spray, the 0 to 5, is starting to get a lot better. I'm panicking less, which means just like pulling down to their feet, and I'm getting the body / headshots that we're looking for. In the second game, I also noticed, in the first one, I was taking a lot of fights just standing still, and I'm actually starting to, attempt to burst a little bit more. I'm saying attempt because I'm still pulling the trigger while I'm, strafing side to side instead of waiting for the strafe to end. But, I think that's just a little over-eagerness on my part. We did have a nice little combo here where I got in a couple fights in a row, and we ended up winning most of them, okay? I think 3 out of 4 should count as winning. That was a good example of, the 5 to 15, hitting the first shot, then spraying. I don't do that very often, because normally I'm just, trying to repeat in my head, shoot, move, and then we died here. Unlucky. And then in the longer range fights, I think, here, my movement error wasn't that bad. I actually was just having trouble getting my crosshair on his skull. But, you can't really complain about aim. That's just going to improve. And then finally, I've noticed an issue in my last 2 games where when I get shot from behind, I always panic spray. So I don't want to develop a bad habit there. We finished game 2 in 7th place, but we ended up identifying, a potential bad habit. So overall, I say it's a win. Game 3 was a bit of a struggle. But upon review, I noticed I kept dying while peeking corners while holding W and A or W and D. So I kind of included this compilation here to hopefully remind myself in the future not to do this ever again. It has something to do with your velocity while rounding a corner. I also included this clip of a fight that was pretty fun. It took probably about 10 to 15 seconds. Me and this guy were in an absolute battle. I'm glad no third parties arrived to end our fun time. And I'm only saying it was fun because I won. Then I ended up in an absolute battle with this Raze, where I lost to them 1v1, not 1, not 2, but 3 times in a row. With a 10th place finish, the game 3 of the day was definitely the hardest game of deathmatch I've played so far. But I think upon review, I learned the most from this VOD, because I was paying attention to my deaths more than, paying attention to my gunfights, trying to figure out why I died as much as I did. After taking a break, I hop back on, running through the usual warm-ups. As you can see here, look at that little to no movement error, okay? The mechanics, I'm slowly picking them up. I'm getting better. The mouse is moving. We hopped into our first deathmatch game, okay? We instantly died a little bit, but these close-range fights are getting better. I think I'm shooting people in the legs less. Not to say that it's cured. Over the course of the day, I have shot plenty of people in the legs or all around their legs. But this first game back, okay, something clicked. I don't know if it was the lobby, but I started getting more kills. One thing I started doing this game was, instead of only, bursting back and forth, left, right, I started, maybe trying to burst left, 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 okay? Because now they might be expecting me to go back and forth, but if I keep moving one direction, it's going to shatter their feeble minds and allow me to kind of ascend to becoming the best player in the world. Ignore those shots, okay? That might have been a lucky headshot that won me the fight, but you know what they say? Luck is a skill all in its own, okay? You have to put yourself in a position to capitalize on being lucky. But as we continue these fights, Oh, one thing I should say is I messed up the capture, so this game does not have the arrow keys, but I fixed that, and hopefully I won't mess up anymore in the future. I did manage to land a couple of, clean kills here. I think my movement error is still probably too high, but I am definitely starting to notice that some of my shots are hitting, and in a game where you only need 1 or 2 shots to hit to win the fight, every time you remove a little bit of movement error, the fights become much easier. That's all I have to say about that. Now, we actually did end up, if you can check to the score at the top, we are in first place. No spoilers, but we did actually end up winning our first ever deathmatch today, day 3. It was quite a long journey. I put thousands of hours into this. And by thousands, I probably mean 5 or 6. But in the end, we did end up clutching this first game, meaning we're going to have to jump into the casuals after we finish this 3-game split. Very exciting. Let's go to the next. This game 5 of the day, it was interesting. There were people in the lobby that were like just meleeing each other. So I think my performance here is a little overblown, but I did try to, continue focusing on the fight hygiene, and I think we are seeing some improvements. One, I'm getting better at just not moving while shooting, and a little bit of the bursting back and forth, getting control of it. This game, I also did manage to get my first overkill, which was pretty cool. I think some of the kills were on some people meleeing. There was that guy who might have been patiently waiting for his turn in a duel. I showed up here and interrupted this duel. You could say that's BM, but I would say this is not a single player game or a 1v1 game, okay? I'm trying to win, and that's all that matters. Quadra kill here. I'm looking around. The pressure's up. I can barely breathe. I hear somebody. Instant murder. Pentakill. Probably one of the best plays in the game ever. Going down in the Hall of Fame. You see that the bursts only to the left direction absolutely clutched me, that overkill. And we ended up 4th place, 35 and 22. Probably most of those kills were on melee players, but let's not talk about it. Game 6. Overall, it went pretty well, okay? We had a couple of good kills, a couple of bad kills. Here we tried some of that side strafing towards the end. Didn't work out, but, it's the effort that counts. We also had a couple good plays this game. Good-ish. I think I included this clip just because it was a lucky kill, where I had a lot of movement error and I somehow still clutched it out. And I need to not get complacent and be like, oh, moving's fine, because I can just have luck on my side. But I also did manage to finally remember that you can ADS in this game, which is kind of a big moment for me, where I, be like, oh, I'm going to get some magnification, kill this guy. And that ended up working quite great. We ended up in 6th place with a KD of 2634. Not bad. We can't expect to have our best game every single game, and it's about continuing to refine on the fundamentals. Then we hopped into our first casual game of the day. Very exciting. I didn't really know how to edit this, so I kind of tried to cut it down to the best of, some fights, some wins, some deaths. And I'll probably get a better feeling the more of these I edit down. Just like I feel like I'm getting better at editing the death matches. There, okay, I missed all my shots. Very unfortunate. But it's a learning experience. Here, panic spraying so bad. And I ended up losing the fight because of that. Very unfortunate. I ran out of ammo. She didn't. GG, as they might say. As the kids say. Here, I feel like I'm clicking on him there. But apparently I'm not. Okay, maybe I should go zoom in, do some enhanced analysis to try to figure out what's going on. Overall, this was a very interesting experience. I thought maybe I would just completely dominate the whole game, because that's what happens in my death matches. And it turns out I have a lot to learn. You see this ability? I was blinded. I had no clue what was going on. I locked in Sage. I meant to play Reyna, but I forgot to buy her, which was very unfortunate, so I ended up having to play the only other character I knew what their kit did, which is basically like a heal, a wall, and a revive. The slow field, I don't know if I used it the whole game, just because, that seems like a waste of money. Anyway, I do think that I need to figure out how exactly I'm going to edit these, how I'm going to commentate them. Let me know down below how you think I should do it. And also, I need to learn how to position myself for these utilities, but that's not what I'm going to worry about for now. My main focus has been and will be on improving my, gunfight hygiene, just getting better at actually stopping whenever I'm shooting. Don't move. I end up, getting too excited. I see the crosshair over the character on my screen, and I think, dang, I really need to click my mouse button, because then they'll die. But it turns out that if you do that while pressing down one of your WASD keys, they don't die. The world lied to you. That crosshair, it's a figment of your imagination, okay? It's not real, and it doesn't work out the way you would expect it to. It's kind of almost like college in a way, where they say, oh, go to college and your life will be great and you'll succeed in winning, a million awards and be super rich. But it turns out that's not how it works. Anyway, we finished 19, 14, and 4. Team MVP, pretty okay for our second casual game of all time. We have to hop into another one after this, so let's see how that goes. Now, game 2 went to be easier because I had, I don't know, some Smurfs or something on my team where they basically hard carried. So half the rounds, I didn't really get to do anything. But we still managed to get some kills, get some familiarity with how the rounds go. Generally, my strategy was to kind of follow around this Jet, who was quite good to see, how are they moving, where are they walking. But they were also just kind of stomping on people, so I'm not sure if this is a great playstyle for me to emulate. Other than that, I really liked this kind of upper hallway area, because it felt quite fun. You're in an isolated, place where people can't flank you from the sides, and you get to open a door, and automatic doors are pretty cool. Now here I was low HP, I see him shooting this turret, so I decided to take the duel, and I was like, oh great, I can heal. I didn't really understand that. I guess it gets blocked by non-line of sight, so I wasted my heal there. Decided to go, oh, you know what? It's great. I'm not going to wait for my jet, even though we just see the enemy jet on the minimap. I'm just going to go, kind of push this out. Why this didn't blind anyone, I don't know. I guess maybe they have to be, actively looking at it or something. I should probably have looked up a guide or something. But I thought it would all be kind of intuitive, okay? They let me buy agents without watching a video about it. That jet got destroyed. I'm kind of the best player at the game. Now, this play was very bad, because in the following clips, you're going to see, after I got this kill, I decided to just keep jumping up here, because, if it worked once, it should always work. That's just how the world works. That was just kind of lucky that they didn't check that corner. And then, boom, a little bit of murder action. Okay, I was still helping the team out. Not too much of a burden. That's what I like to say. People don't really say, oh, I'm glad he's on my team, but they also don't go, oh, I wish he wasn't on my team, at least so far. We'll see how that goes in the future. When you're getting absolutely carried, it's hard to really tell, but we ended up finishing this one 8-5-4. Definitely not the MVP this game, but still an okay showing. Now, when everyone is scared, it's hard to know how accurately that all works out. But yeah, that's kind of how game number 2 went. My hour of aim training every single day went quite well today. We ended up, retesting our benchmarks and got all of our scores at least into the bronze range, which means we're going to be moving on from the Iron Fundamentals playlist to the Bronze Voltaic Fundamentals playlist. Let's see if this improvement continues.